So first of all, just want to dive into who we are as a business, give you a little bit of an overview into the company where we finished our last financial year. So not all of you might know that we're still actually a privately owned company. Enterprise was founded back in the 50s over in the States at St. Louis, and we're still privately owned by the Taylor family today. So as you can see, we've grown to being the seventh largest privately owned company in America. And last year we turned over $38 billion, which for me as an employee is fantastic because it means that there's really, really good stability within the company, means that there's really, really good job security. And ultimately, I'm able to buy into a long-term vision for the growth of the company because we aren't needing to be directed by shareholders in regards to that next quarter, that next dividend for them. So it's fantastic that you're able to work in a really stable environment from that point of view. From humble beginnings of starting in one location with one employee with a fleet of 6 vehicles, as you can see, we've grown into having a team of over 90,000 employees, and the vast majority of them start off as management trainees. So it's brilliant because when you're joining the company, you're working with people that have been in your position. You are able to get a lot of mentoring involved as well, and that's really, really important. As you can see, we're an international company. We're operating in over 90 countries and territories worldwide. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you're wanting to spread your wings and work in different countries, different cultures, then you're certainly able to do that with ourselves. And just finally want to highlight the size of the fleet that we've now grown to. We've got 2.3 million vehicles in our fleet, and that's fantastic, not just because of the size, but because of the diversity of the fleet. And it means that we're able to appeal to lots of different customers, we're able to meet lots of different needs, and ultimately we're able to be that one-stop shop for mobility, whether you're an individual, whether you are a multinational business or just a local business down the road, we're able to cater for your needs. So also catering for needs, we are now operating a number of different brands. And this hasn't been something that we've rushed into. For the first 50 years operating, we operated purely under the Enterprise brand. And on our 50th birthday, we decided, you know what, we want to take on more of the market share. We want to diversify our business. We want to stimulate our growth. So that's when we acquired National and Alamo back in 2007. And from there, we've just continued to launch more and more brands as the landscape of mobility has changed. So we've got our Enterprise Car Club, that's more autonomous rental where you're able to rent vehicles for as little as half an hour. And these are just parked in the street. You can unlock them with your phone and then off you go. You don't even need to pay for fuel. It's that convenient. And you can obviously hire this 24 hours a day versus just when our branches are open. We've got our FlexiRent brand, which is more commercial vehicles. So that could be HGVs, could be tipper trucks, but it could also be golf carts for movie sets. So again, regardless of what the company needs are, we're able to cater for that. And we also need to adapt to the times too. So we've got our Integral brand, that's our software engineering brand, and that's where we're ultimately looking to develop different interfaces, different solutions for customers. So really, really broad options within the company, really, really broad portfolio of brands. But again, it's fantastic to work in a company that's able to offer you such diversity within your career. Rachel, from your time working in the company, what brands have you been involved in and how have they differed slightly?
Yeah, so for with my experience, I worked at Glasgow Tracing to start with, so that was mostly just enterprise, and then I moved over to what we call a train station brand. So train station and airports, they work under your tri brand, so Enterprise, National, and Alamo. Very like they're all very very similar. It's not you don't need to learn like 3 different ways of checking in or checking out a customer or anything like that. They all work under the umbrella of Enterprise. And Car Club, we work really really closely with that part of the company. It's it's really really handy, I think, for especially students as well. Like I didn't even know Car Club was a thing until I started with Enterprise, so it's really good to just get an insight and trying to like change the way a customer can view car rental in itself, because normally everyone thinks it's just the traditional go in to get a car like from us, but Car Club suits a lot like a bigger diversity of people, and especially younger people as well. So it's good to just give customers the option, and then obviously it broadens your knowledge as well about enterprise.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, choices and options are absolutely essential to being able to provide great customer service, and I think that's what really attracted me to the business when I was looking for a role. After university, I wanted to be in an environment that was very people focused, and ultimately at enterprise, even though we're a mobility provider, we are a very people focused business. So just before I move on, if anyone has any questions for us, if you want to pop them into the Q&A box, we will be able to answer them at the end because we will have some time to go through your questions, and that's what this is all about as well. But as I was saying, it's a really, really people-focused business, and I think that that's reflected in our founding values. The fact that customer service is a way of life for us, and we very much want to strengthen our communities one neighborhood at a time. I very much feel like I've been able to do that whilst working with enterprise in each role that I've had, and yeah, that's something that's very much kept me with the business because I'm able to see the impact that I'm making, and I find that really, really motivating as well. Rachel, from your experience so far, are there any of our founding values that really stand out and resonate with you?
Yeah, I would definitely say like our doors are open. I've worked in part-time jobs in the past, and like the management just hasn't really been supportive, or my colleagues, I just didn't really find them that helpful. So I think when I started enterprise, I was a wee bit kind of skeptical, and I was just a wee bit worried about that. But it's literally been the best company in terms of just being sociable and working with everyone, and everyone really does want to see you achieve well. So as much as everyone obviously wants to, it's a little bit healthy competition in there, but everyone will help you out. So I really think that one was really, really important. And obviously, like work hard and reward hard work. There's loads of bonuses that you can get a hold of. There's loads of little branch competitions that you can get involved in as well. So obviously, the more you put in, the more you'll get out of the job as well.
100%. And yeah, that's something that I wanted. I wanted somewhere that you get that recognition for working hard. And yeah, you're able to gain that, whether it was financial, whether it was added responsibilities. It's always really, really important that you're recognized for the work that you're doing. And
Mhm.
the work that you're doing, it's not always going to be purely in the branches. There is the opportunity to get involved in volunteering and supporting local communities. I've been involved in the Fill Your Tank initiatives. This is a global initiative where we are investing $160 million to help to reduce food insecurity. So I worked with a food bank in Glasgow, and I was able to go out and support them delivering food to local communities, and also I was able to network with different people within the company too. So it was a really, really valuable experience for me, and it actually allowed me to take on additional responsibilities, organizing future visits for people in the company to go and work with that food bank. So that's something that I've found really, really rewarding. Rachel, any examples of things that you've been involved in within the
Yeah,
branches?
so yeah, last Christmas, I just took it upon myself to get in contact with children's charities around the Glasgow area. Got in contact with Glasgow's Children's First and set up a meeting with their manager. And I basically just explained like there's a lot of branches in the Glasgow area, so we can donate as many as we possibly can. So I drove around all the branches, collected everyone's donations, and I dropped it off to their drop-off point. And I think we raised maybe over hundreds and hundreds of presents. It was absolutely amazing, and it was such a good experience, and to be able to give back to obviously the community, like you said, Fraser, is so important. And I'm glad everyone in the branch was able to come together as a team and support a really good cause. And we're actually doing it again this year, so it's good
Amazing,
to
amazing. You've got a
that,
legacy.
that end up. Yeah.
Totally, and that's the thing, it's like absolutely we've got those global initiatives, but then also you're coming in as a placement student, and within 6 months you are able to run a charity campaign to impact your local community, and then as I say, you're creating a legacy. That's something that's hopefully going to happen every single year. So for me, it's a brilliant example of the impact that you're able to make, and ultimately the personal brand that you're able to grow as well from that. So no, I think that's absolutely brilliant. And also we're looking, for sustainable mobility options. We're very much listening to our customers in regards to their needs. And there's a lot of companies out there who are pledging to reduce their emissions. They want to reduce their emissions, but they maybe don't know how to go about doing that. And that's where we as a business can come in and almost be that transportation, that mobility consultant, and we're able to, for example, geotag their vehicles. We're able to make recommendations on which vehicles can be EVs, which ones can be hybrids, and we can add a lot of value to their business. I think a great example of this has been the work that we've done with the Highland Council, where we have been able to supply our car club offerings to them for them to use for corporate travel, and that's reduced their emissions by 377 tonnes within the first year, and it also saved that local authority £400,000 that they were able to reinvest into other public services. So that's something that I'm really proud of in regards to working for a company that's able to find those solutions. But then also that's something that really keeps me with the company as well, because I can see a huge amount of growth within the company. I know there's going to be a huge amount of opportunity in the future, and mobility as a service, that's where you're looking at that shared economy, potentially a reduction of car ownership, but still a need for mobility. And how can we develop travel apps? How can we develop mobility solutions that are able to link you with the suppliers that you need? So again, really, really excited to see where that goes in the future, and ultimately where it takes everyone's career in the future as well. But as I was saying, ultimately, whatever happens in the future, we are going to be very much a people-focused business. And I think what really reflects this is the awards that we've been given in the last year. Something that I'm a part of is the Disability Committee in Talent Acquisition, and we're always looking at how we can ensure that our processes are equitable, and how we're supporting candidates, whatever their background within the process. And we're also in the top 50 employers for gender equality as well, as per the Times. So really, really proud to be representing that in an industry which can be stereotypically a male dominated industry. So we're doing everything that we can to ensure that regardless of your gender, you're able to succeed and have the career that you want with enterprise mobility. Rachel, as a woman coming into our business, how have you found that? Has there been any specific support that you've been given in that first year of the company?
Yeah, so just when you were saying like gender equality and everything there, Enterprise actually hosted a Women in Rental event back, I think it was in March this year. And it was just so good just to take a day out the branch and just go and speak and interact and network with like-minded women as well. I think that was so important. It was really, really empowering. And yeah, I think it's great. I think definitely at the start, I thought it was a wee bit more male dominated, but I didn't mind that. Everyone, again, they treated me, how I expect to be treated. I didn't get treated any differently or anything at all. And now I'm actually in a really, really well mixed branch. So I think that's important as well. When you go to other branches, you just make sure you connect and interact with everyone. But I think the Women in Rental events, there was an International Women's Day as well. We celebrated that, which was really important. And it's just great just to, like I said, build those relationships that can go that wee bit further than just being colleagues. You can actually get like lifelong friendships out of it, which again I think is super important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that really struck me when I started, was how sociable the company is, and ultimately, you're working with people, but then you're wanting to socialize with people. You're building those strong connections. And yeah, every year we'll have our holiday party, which is coming up in Scotland. So that's where we're bringing everyone together and recognizing top performers, and we're just rewarding everyone for that last year of work as well. And it's really important that we as a company foster that, and we as a company ensure that it is a great place to work, because that's the only way that we're going to have future leaders within our company, because it's all internal promotions. So what I've got here is just a little snapshot of what our career timeline can look like. So as you can see, everyone's starting off in that management trainee, that management placement position. And to be honest, whether you're a trainee, whether you're a placement, the job role is going to be almost exactly the same. You're able to go through that same training process as a placement as you would as a graduate. Once you have completed that training folder, which is very project based, and I really, really enjoyed that because it's very hands-on, and also in order to progress, it's all mapped out for you. So you understand what you need to learn, what you need to complete, what you need to be competent in order to progress. And then you have a sit-down interview with the different heads of departments, just to make sure that you're competent, and to make sure that you have the skill set required in order to be a successful manager in the future. So once you've gone through that, you then become a management assistant. And that's really a launch pad to apply to be an assistant manager. So it's a bit of a holding role, and hopefully you're in that position for just a couple of months until you're able to secure an assistant manager position. At that point, things get really exciting personally because you start to earn a percentage of the profits. So, from my experience, I was able to get promoted into a branch that was turning over about £2 million a year. We had a fleet of about 200 cars and a team of 8 people that myself and 2 other managers were running and were developing at that time. So that was amazing to have that responsibility after about a year in the business. And as I say, it felt like 3 managers, we were running our own business because we were so connected to the success of that business and in regards to the success of our employees, because in order to get promoted, you need to be looking after the people in your business, whether that's the customers, whether that's your employees. You need to be developing them and you need to be looking after those relationships. So again, it's very much looking at how you're doing that, how you're fostering a positive culture within the branch. For me, slightly unusually, because I had worked in a couple of different branches, I actually moved into HR after my second assistant manager role. But it's customary to get promoted to being a branch manager before other options open up within the business. Now, there's no pressure to move into another role out with operations, whether you're interested in going into a development role, whether you enjoyed a sales role, maybe you're really interested in risk and how to control the costs associated with that. But I think that's what's really, really good about the training program is it gives you a taste of everything and it allows you to understand maybe what you're most interested in and where you're going to thrive within the business. But if you are enjoying operations and you want to continue in management, then as you can see, you're able to progress to being an assistant manager, a GM, and ultimately, Chrissy, our CEO, she started as a placement student and is now heading up a company turning over $38 billion. So wherever you want to go, we're going to support you and you're going to be able to achieve that. There's very little roadblocks in your way. You don't need to take on additional studies, for example. We will support you with all your future development as well, which again is a great commitment from the company. And I think that can be seen in regards to the 20,000 promotions or job changes that we had last year. So it shows that you're going to be moving around a lot within your career. You're going to have the ability to take on a lot of different scenarios, lots of different environments in regards to where you're working. And for me, that's brilliant because it keeps it fresh. It keeps you interested in what you're doing. And it's not me that just thinks that it's great. It's fantastic that we've got that external recognition as well. So again, this year we're in the Times Top 100 Graduate Employers, which is fantastic. But also we are the #1 student employer as per Rate My Placement. So really, really proud of getting that recognition. And what's fantastic about that award is that it's actually peer reviewed. So it's voted for by the returning interns from our business. So that is coming straight from people that have done a summer internship, a year-long placement, and they have had the best experience with themselves versus anyone else in the market. So what we wanted to do now is we wanted to take a bit more of a deep dive into what it's like to be a management trainee. Because as I said, it is very project focused, but ultimately, we want to see what skills you're going to develop as well. Rachel, from your experience, how did you find the project folder and ultimately working through those different tasks?
Yeah, so with the project folder, as Fraser mentioned, there's I think 7 or 8 stages that you have to work through. You can do it. It's like up to you in terms of how long you want to do this. Some people get it done in 6 months. Some people don't get it done for a year. It literally just depends on the individual themselves. But I think it's really good because you manage different types of projects within the business. So you can do risk, you can do like just management, and then daily little parts of the business. You basically you break it down and do little tasks for each one. So it makes obviously yourself understand the daily operations like to a really, really high standard as well. But then also when new starts come in, you can also teach them. So I think I personally learn better by teaching others. So being able to develop that skill was really, really important for me. And along the journey, you learn your soft skills and you develop your hard skills as well. So you get best of both worlds, really. And obviously, when you complete this folder, you basically set your MQI, which is what we call your management qualification interview. And that basically is just a chat with every head of department, literally about your folder. So you're basically, as soon as you start, you're basically doing your homework right up until you sit that interview. And then that's when you become your management assistant, and then you can go for assistant manager role. So I think it was really, really great. And I developed skills that I didn't even think I could develop. Excuse me, my weak ones, I feel a lot stronger, especially like presenting and just confidence wise. I think it does. Sometimes you just does it subconsciously, so you don't actually realize you're doing it. And then when you come to like the end of the year, you're like, oh, I've actually developed a lot more skills than I actually thought. So I think it's really, really great.
Absolutely. And something that really stood out to me is the fact that you are onboarding and you're coaching new starts within the business. And I think that's such a great way to recognize how much of a business understanding you have, and how much you have actually gained from that time working in the branch. And yeah, that can happen quite early on as well. And I think that that's really, really important in order to you then progressing into being a manager and developing those managerial skill sets, because we're very much hiring on potential. We're not looking for people that have been managers in the past necessarily. It's more people that have got the ability, the want to progress into those types of positions. And yeah, when I reflect on what I do on a daily basis now, a lot of the skills that I use are ones that I developed as a management trainee. And I think that that's a huge part of it, is that being a branch manager, for example, it's a really diverse role, so you really need to understand the whole business, and you need to develop a lot of different skills. With our corporate accounts, they can be so diverse. You could be speaking to a government department in 1 second, and then a small body shop, and then a multinational, all within the space of an afternoon. So it's really important that you feel comfortable doing so. You also need to be developing your team. You need to be strong communicators. You need to be able to communicate with internal and external stakeholders. So as you can see, lots of communication skills, but then also you'll be understanding the financial statements. You'll be understanding various different processes. So again, we're just really looking to give you a great foundation that you're then able to choose where you go from there. Number 3 is growing relationships. So Rachel, how's that looked? We touched on how sociable it is, but have you found that it's an environment where you are able to do that within the branches?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And it's not just with colleagues like my other like MTs, it's with everyone. So it's with your assistant manager, it's also with your managers. And then, your senior managers can come in, and the area managers and the general managers, everyone like that. When they come into the branch, they don't just make a beeline for the managers. They want to speak to everyone. They want to hear everyone's experience. So you make a really great relationship with everyone. But like I said, it is very much what you put in, you get out as well. So just try and be that, be confident, go up and, shake that person's hand and just show that you're interested and you want to get to know them, and then they'll give you like double that back. So what you put in is definitely what you get out. But I think it's good as well in terms of growing your relationships, that you can network and connect on like LinkedIn, social media as well. And then you can, like, after work, I know the guys have like a wee football team after work, so they can meet and strengthen their relationship outside. And I know the girls, they can separate theirs and like go into like smaller groups and go for coffees and stuff. So I think it's really good to be able to take that relationship out with work as well. I think it's really important as well to do that.
Absolutely. And I always really enjoy growing relationships with customers as well. And it always really surprised me when I started, because before working with enterprise, I worked in hospitality. And therefore I was used to developing relationships with people. But it kind of felt different with enterprise, because you'd spend maybe 5 minutes at the start of someone's holiday helping them with the car, and then they'd go away to the Highlands for a week or 2 weeks, and then they come back and they'd remember who you were, and they'd bring you shortbread and everything. And I was like, this is amazing. I spent 5-10 minutes with this person, and they seem more appreciative than someone that I spent their whole wedding day with, almost, in hospitality. So yeah, that was really, really nice, seeing the impact that you're able to make. And also, we help a lot of people who are requiring replacement vehicles, so they're potentially having a pretty tough day when we speak to them, and it's just so nice being able to listen to them, understanding what they really need, not necessarily what they want, but what they really need, and then being able to meet that, and then ultimately being able to help them get on the road again, get their day back on track, and building that relationship, and for that person to really know that you're actively listening to them is really, really important. So again, something that I felt like I was able to develop, and something that I try and use every single day in my current role. Also, there's always someone that is there for you. As you said, Rachel, it's like if you reach out to someone, they're going to give you twice, twice what you give them back in return. And it's very much, our doors are always open is one of our founding values. And I've always found that if I'm a little bit unsure on how to proceed, I know that I'm able to reach out to not just my line manager, but my mentors, other heads of departments, my colleagues, in order to find a solution. And there's a good chance that someone will have been in a similar situation than me. So it's great to be able to have that support system around me. And what I'd always say to my management trainees when I was a manager was view the heads of departments almost like consultants. They're there to support us in the operations, reach out to them in regards to your projects, what you're thinking of running, get their buy-in, and make sure that you're building that personal brand as well. So that's something that I very much lent into and continue to lean into. And yeah, everyone's got time for you, which is really, really empowering, I think, actually within the company. And then just finally, we always want to reward our employees. So Rachel, can you give us a bit of an insight into some of the rewards that you've enjoyed whilst being with Enterprise?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, excuse me, I think the main one is obviously your monetary values. You can get bonuses at the end of the month, depending on sales and customer service. So I think that always helps to get your paycheck at the end of the month. But even just recognition from your colleagues and your managers, I think that can really go a long way, and it can actually be a lot more impactful than people can actually realise. And we have, like, again, healthy competition around sales and customer service. So if you say you get a really, really good ticket and you sell really, really well on it, your manager will give you that recognition, and then your manager can also move that communication onto senior managers, and then they'll even give you a text or give you an email and say, look, that was really, really good, keep up the good work. And it does go a long way, rather than just sitting there and thinking, okay, your manager said that was good, but if you sell well and a lot of tickets, and the kind of novelty wears off. But it's great to get recognition from really senior managers. I think it does go a long way, and it makes you motivated and makes you encouraged, keep going, and pushing yourself that little bit more to get even more, like, higher numbers and higher percentages within the company. So you can get rewarded in loads of different aspects, but I think those two would be definitely the main ones for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, it really just puts into focus how impactful, how meaningful the work is that you're doing. And yeah, it's something that I've very much enjoyed. And as I mentioned, you've got the profit share element when you become a manager. And for me, that's a huge reward. Effectively almost becoming a partner within the business in quite a short space of time. And at that point, you're able to impact your pay by 30%, 50%, in that second year potentially. And there's very much no caps on what people are able to earn within the business. So if you are someone who is motivated by being in control of your salary, then it's definitely somewhere that you're going to enjoy to work as well. And just before we open things up for questions, just wanted to give you a bit more of an insight into the precise skills that you'll grow in the application process. But also these skills, funnily enough, are the ones that we're looking to identify in the application process. So almost a little bit of a cheat sheet for you, Will, in regards to think about examples of where you've maybe put these into practice. And as you mentioned earlier, Rachel, everyone's got their strengths that they enjoy doing. Everyone's maybe got their weaknesses as well. So are there any out there of the eight that stand out to you that you feel that you've really been able to develop and are stronger now than maybe when you started?
Yeah, absolutely. Problem solving, that was horrendous for me to begin with. I just could not. And just being faced with a problem, I just panicked. But working with Enterprise, it's really allowed me to develop that skill. And I think even if a customer faces you with a problem, you have to be able to think, quick, on your feet, give them solutions. And obviously, you don't just get thrown in the deep end. You obviously can build that up, working with your managers and your colleagues. But I think now, if a customer comes to me with a problem, problem, I know exactly how to handle it and I know exactly how to be professional around it. And then even if you don't, there's still other ways that you can communicate that to the customer and say, like, can't, give you a solution right now, but give me a day or two and we'll get something sorted for you. So it's just being able to be confident in that skill, because if I was faced with a problem, I would just run and get my manager, and I was like, no, I can't do it myself. So it's really, really empowering, and it's great to see like my confidence from when I started with an enterprise to how I am now. So definitely problem solving is one, and even just marketing and sales. I think it's really fun just to get out the branch and, like you said, speak to those body shops, speak to those we work with like BBC and the police, so it's really, really good to get in there and speak to those that aren't working with enterprise, and you'll be able to push that sales aspect of it even more. And then obviously at the end of the day, you still get rewarded as well. So I think it's brilliant.
Absolutely, absolutely. Must say for me, sales is definitely something I feel like I've developed, and also I've changed my perspective on somewhat because I'd never worked in a role where I had particular targets in regards to units that you need to sell per day or revenue that you need to drive per day. But from working with enterprise, I understood how much customer service and sales are linked, and actually sales is just being able to listen to a customer, understanding their needs, making a recommendation, but making sure that they're aware of all the different choices and options, and allowing them, to be able to view what option is going to be, the most positive for them. So that's something that I've really enjoyed. As I say, I didn't have any experience of it, and I felt like I had a lot of support. There's different processes, frameworks that you're able to use, and it's something that I ended up really, really enjoying quite quickly within the company after. Less than a month. I was like, this is great. I was enjoying getting a bit of a buzz out of it, understanding, how to best help customers as well, and to be able to clearly communicate. And yeah, communication is something that you're going to be doing on the daily basis, whether it's over the phone, whether it's face to face, in the branch, out and about in the marketplace. So if you're someone who enjoys doing that, then this is definitely a great opportunity for you. And as you'll see from our application process, there is a lot of communication involved. So first of all, we asked you to complete an online application. So the great thing about this is that there's no need to write a CV. So you don't need to think about the format. You don't need to think about what information is relevant, what isn't relevant. We very much map that all out for you, and then you just need to plug in the information into the specific text box. So ultimately, we're structuring that for you. And my advice would be try and keep things concise, use bullet points where you can, but never second guess what experience is relevant and what isn't relevant. So quite often people just put down professional internships, for example, and they won't put down the part-time jobs or the jobs that they maybe did over the summer or at school. And it's really, really important that you do this so that we're able to understand, all of your experience, not just the experience that you've got working in a professional workplace. That'll then be screened by a person. So there's no ATS screening these. There's no AI or psychometric testing. It's ultimately a person who will then give you a quick phone call and qualify you for a virtual interview. So the virtual interview, it's a two-way interview over Microsoft Teams, not a video interview. And this is competency based. So it's just understanding your experience and ultimately the mindset that you've also approached different scenarios. Rachel, from your experience, how did you find the virtual interview? Was it quite intimidating, or did it give you space to really talk through your experience?
Yeah, it was not intimidating at all. I've been for a few interviews for like part-time jobs in the past, and I always get nervous for them. I feel like that's just natural for everyone. So I was quite nervous for this, but honestly, within like a minute or two in, I was just so at ease. The guy I'd done mine with was just really great at just, setting the scene, just saying like it's really, really casual. It's just a very just chat basically of what they just want to understand who you are as a person and what skills and competencies that you've got. It's not nervous, and you obviously do get a wee bit nervous, but it's not nerve-wracking and it's not intimidating at all, which I actually really, really liked. And I feel like you can talk a bit more, and you can actually plan what you're going to say, because I feel like normally in interviews you just want to say what they want to hear, but with this one they generally just want to get to know you really, really well, and see what you're all about and see what you can give to the company.
Perfect. And yeah, when I used to interview on a daily basis, my mindset, and I know my colleagues are the same, is I wanted to identify the potential of that individual, and I wanted to create an environment where they were able to really share that with me, and that they were able to perform to their best rather than trying to find the make that person feel uncomfortable and stress test that person. That is absolutely not the view of this. So yeah, absolutely, we are very much hiring on potential. We want to just learn more about you, what motivates you, and to make sure that we're a good fit. You'll then be invited to a branch visit, and that's fantastic because it gives you a real insight into our business, our operations, before you also have an interview with an area manager. And that ensures that we're right for you as much as you're right for us. And that's something that's really, really important. I always say to people, almost approach this like it was your first day in the job. So ask lots of questions, get involved where you can, make some notes, because ultimately, if you do that, then you're going to set yourself up for a smoother onboarding experience once we've made that job offer. But Rachel, from working in the branches, is there anything that makes a candidate stand out at the branch visit? Is there any little nuggets of wisdom that you can give anyone on the call?
Yeah, 100%. I would say just confidence. Even I wouldn't really class myself as that confident of a person, but it's just that aspect of just fake it till you make it, really. So I just make sure you kind of walk in the branch, be as confident as possible, chat to everyone. Handshake really goes a long way with an enterprise. When you go in the job, you'll really realise that. So just go in, give everyone a handshake, and then also show that you're interested, ask those questions. I think I must have asked like 50 questions on my branch visit. And at the time, they seemed really big, but now I'm like, why did I even ask that? But you'd honestly just ask away, like ask everyone everything, even if it's tiny. It also just shows that your managers and your colleagues that you want to learn and you're interested in what you're going to be doing every day. And the more questions you ask when you start your first day, it's going to be like a breeze because you know what to do because you've had that branch visit. And get involved with customers as well. Like when a customer comes in, just chat to them, and you don't have to sell them, get them a rental at all. You just can have a chat with them. What's their plans with the vehicle? What are they doing today? What are they doing after? Like literally just have a wee conversation. And like Fraser said, communication is so important. So I would just really use that and be confident. And then by the time you start on your first day, it'll just be a breeze. It'll be nice and easy.
100%. Absolutely. I think that's it. It's clear communication with everyone in the branch, including customers. And yeah, that comes across, as that confidence that Rachel is talking about. And that's it. That's when we made the job offer after the branch visit. So really streamlined process. And we very much want to be able to turn that around and just to get to know you as thoroughly as possible. So as much as it's concise and short, it's actually a lot of touch points with individuals, and you'll be able to start to grow your network in enterprise as well, which is really, really important. So that's all of the information that we've got for yourself at the moment. But I know that we've got a couple of questions in the chat. I would highly recommend that you check out our socials because you'll be able to get a greater insight into the company. You'll be able to see examples of various different community work that we have going on. You'll be able to see people's career journeys into various different parts of the business. So it'll give you a real insight into what we've discussed today, and you'll be able to see that firsthand, which I think is always really, really valuable. So we do have a couple of questions in the question and answer box, so that is fantastic. I think there's a couple of duplicate questions, which is no problem at all. So I'll be able to just cover them with one answer. So we've got a question here in regards to international students and if we sponsor visas. So for international students, my understanding is that when you graduate, you will have a 2-year graduate visa. So we are able to hire you using the 2-year visa, and then after the 2 years, it's just a case-by-case review into a longer term sponsorship. Now, we're an American company. We've been operating in the UK for the last 30 years. So we have been sponsoring people in our business at senior levels for that period of time. And we've got a team set up that ultimately look at the sponsorship options. So we're set up to do that as a company. It's just a case-by-case basis in regards to where you are in the company at that point. And then question here in regards to individual from Dublin asking if there's any IT opportunities. So yes, we do have a variety of different roles. Now, the management trainee position is available throughout the UK and Ireland, and we've got opportunities in every sort of town, city that you can imagine within those. The IT positions, they can be more limited, and a lot of them will either be remote-based working or they could be based in Egham, which is where our European head office is. But the great thing is that all of our jobs are located in the same place. So you are able just to go to our careers website, and there you'll be able to see all of the different opportunities that we have available for the UK and for Ireland. So I can see that that my colleague Samantha has just put them in the chat function, so you'll be able to follow those links to be able to browse the various different jobs that we've got available. And in regards to, I know there's a couple of questions in regards to driving licenses. So we require a UK or EU manual driving license in order to apply to the management trainee position, unless it's due to a disability. The reason for this is that you're going to be driving our fleet of vehicles, and these range from being manual to automatic vehicles. So you need to be able to drive ultimately our full range of vehicles at the rental branches. And if you're working towards your driving license, please don't apply until you have you've actually completed that process and you've gained your full driving license. Our jobs, we keep them open throughout the year, so don't worry, you're not going to miss a deadline. You know, it's not a case of like you need to apply now because the job isn't going to be available in the spring and you're looking to start in the summer, for example. It's no problem at all. If it's going to take you to March until April to gain that driving license, great thing is the job's going to be there for you. You've seen how short our application process can be, so we're able to get you turned around and we're able to get you started in the business. Got a question here in regards to bonuses. So Rachel, I'm going to throw this one over to you because I've not worked in a branch for quite a while, so you have better insight into this. So the bonuses, are they team targets or are they individual targets?
Yeah, amazing. So it's a really good question, actually. They're actually both. So the branch, we basically have like a Be the Best, which is about a wee bit of healthy competition with all the branches in the area. So that's a team target. And then you can also do your individual target. So based on sales and customer service, there's like a cap point almost. So for example, if it was like £5, so if you get above that £5, then you get also a bonus for that. I think there's 3 different bonuses. So like the highest one, middle one, and obviously the lower one. So it's both. So it's really good. So you can work and, you know, share that experience with your team, and then you can also do it a wee bit of healthy competition again with your colleagues as well, which is always a wee bit fun. So it's both.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also the individual bonuses, in my mind, a lot of them are they're not necessarily like 1, 2, 3 in the branch. It's often like your performance. So it's a case where everyone is able to benefit from that, and you're actually maybe competing more as a branch, you know, in regards to the rankings in the country. Would you say that that's kind of the case?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And it's always really good, you know, to motivate your team as well to try and get that Be the Best and get those numbers. Then obviously you get your bonus at the end. So I think it's really, really good. But yeah, definitely, and just a wee bit of competition with other branches, which is good.
Perfect. And got a question here in regards to someone who is studying mathematics, in regards to if there's any prior qualifications required. The great thing is that we take people from all different degree backgrounds, and I really, really enjoy that. I studied sports development. I work with someone who studied comedy. I work with people that have studied chemistry. I work with people that have, yeah, they've studied economics or business, but it's fantastic because you're working with a really wide, you know, degree programs. So, yeah, it's definitely open to all degree backgrounds, and the positions that are open, we're flexible. So we've got opportunities that are starting right at the start of the new year. So if you're looking to start in January, then you know you're able to do that. Or if you're currently studying, then you're able to start in the summer for 2025. So really good flexibility. In regards to the driving licenses, you don't need to have a certain amount of experience, so you don't need to have passed that for a certain amount of time. You just need to have the license in order to be able to apply So I'm just having a look through the chat box now to see if we've got any other questions. So yeah, we've got opportunities in Swansea. So if you go into our website and search opportunities by Swansea, then you'll be able to see what we have available in that region. And in regards to with the locations, say you apply to a Swansea job, but then you want to work somewhere else, we're able to support you with that throughout the process. So please just apply to one job, even if you are super flexible. Apply to that number one location, and then we can have a chat with you in regards to where would suit you best. And I think that is the majority of the questions. Yeah, ultimately, I think it's really, really important to come in, and it's probably easiest to progress if you start as a management trainee, because that gives you that foundation of knowledge, and that's really the only way to get to senior managerial positions in the future. So if you're looking to progress, that is the best way to do that. So just want to thank everyone for their time today. Rachel, thank you so much for joining the call. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, I look forward to catching up with you soon, Rachel, on campus.